I felt like this was important to talk about this like openly, because so many people and so many of our friends have been, quarantined at home with people that they love, with, like, it's, I love everyone who works for us, but that doesn't mean I don't feel like the way I feel. And so people are stuck with their home, with their kids, with their husbands.
Can you imagine being stuck at home with your husband? God. Poor people all over the world.
Yeah.
I'm being facetious, but there's a lot of truth to that. Like there is definitely an amount. I think that you and I have a very strong foundation to our relationship, and yet there are challenges that we experience. Almost, they come up, but since we work so closely together. It comes up. We actually have to also make sure we give the time for each other to just, have that space. We talked about this even last year. Like last year we spent almost every day together, but you were in the States for 2 months, and then I was in Germany for close to a month, and I was in the US again for close to a month. So over the course of the year, we spent a ton of time together, but there were 4 out of 12 months that we weren't together. So 1/3 of the time we weren't sharing any space at all. We didn't see each other. And, and that can also be very hard, because I know people who really struggle with that too, particularly working in entertainment with, actors, producers, and directors. And we go off and we go work in another state for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Some people are working on TV series will end up going away for several months at a time and then come home. And that kind of space is a different type of challenge. But this challenge, is obviously a different one, but it's something that we have, we try and navigate, but it is a challenge for us, and to acknowledge it. And one of the things I just want to come back to, something that we did the other day, we've been talking about reading Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg for a while. And I started reading it a long time ago, or I may have even read it years ago. I've listened to, a series he had, but that was a long time ago, and I was like, you know what? I know it's really powerful. I want to bring it back into our lives. And we talked about reading it for a while. And last week, this sort of culmination of just our always being together, we were having feeling kind of like stuck.
I feel like I want to say, just because we spend so much time together, doesn't mean it's a quality time together. Yeah. Like sometimes I spend all the time with you and I miss you.
We felt that way last week. I was like, I miss you. But yet we spent a lot of time together. So that meant there was a certain intentionality. And I was thinking, well, do we need to go out? Well, you can't go out because you're not allowed to go sit in any restaurants. Basically, we can go on a walk. But we can't do anything outside of basically our house, or whatever we do together for each other, for our relationship, is going to be fairly similar to what we do already, which is go on walks or stay home. So it was a matter of bringing a different type of intentionality into what we do together. So we picked up this book, and it's something that we started a long time ago, like right at the very beginning of our relationship. We're going to read a book together that had workbooks and worksheets and things that really engaged us. And then last year we were also reading a book about money, and we said, next year we want to read a book about relationship and communication. Yeah. And so we found that, granted, it was already April, we're 3 months into the year, and we haven't read it yet, and we haven't started yet, and we started, and just opening up that space around communication, just reading the first chapter or two, made a huge shift.
It did. Just taking that time in the evening where it was like 8 p.m. at night, and we're like, let's go to bed and read this book together.
We could have watched Netflix together, we could have done all those things, but instead there was an intentionality to what we did together. And I think that was really healing, because, what we're talking about here is like self-care and personal space. But the other thing is the quality of the space. We can actually find a way to have healthy personal space within a space where we have, today there are 4 people here. And how do we have healthy personal space? And everyone's going to leave except for your sister tonight. And it's going to be you and me. And how do we continue to hold that space in a way that really supports us and feeds into self-care and all of those things that we still need.
Yeah. The other thing, one thing, like when I think about self-care, like I always imagine going to a spa, doing like fancy thing, but I live in a place where those things, I don't even know if they exist. But I think like taking the time. I think for me, at this point in my life, self-care means like acknowledging what's so in my life.
Very nice. Yeah.
You
Just
know?
what it is, an acknowledgement.
Yeah. And that to me is self-care. And also like understanding like, I do feel guilty because of like my past and my childhood and how I grew up. And also recognizing that it's okay to not feel guilty, you know? So,
Just to be who you are in the situation.
And
you're in
acknowledge
now.
my feelings and, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So here we are. We're kind of in this time, and we're not going to be able to change the circumstance at the moment, right? We are, even at this moment as we speak, we are kind of quote unquote stuck here. There is no way for us to leave Kenya and go back to the States as we were planning on doing. There's all these things. And yet, you know, we can actually find a way to take the situation and bring an intentionality into it through the work we do together, through our meditative work, through our study, through acknowledgement of where I'm at without even needing to say it needs to change.
I don't think actually anything is going to change.
It doesn't, right. It doesn't need to change.
Nothing needs to change.
But when you just said, when I acknowledge what is so, that means I don't need to change what is in the world. I can change my relationship to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So.
Really nice. So here we are going to, keep going and doing what we're doing and bring this intentionality to it.
Yeah, and I really recommend reading then. How many chapters into it?
I don't know, I think we're 3 chapters into Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Pretty awesome.
It's pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome.
It changed my outlook the last couple of days.
Yeah, because it was just about taking agency and responsibility. That there's, even one of the first things, right, is get rid of the phrase "I have to."
Yeah.
When we choose it, it becomes what we do in the world is imbued with our life force and our excitement instead of the drudgery of I have to do this.
Yeah, anyway, we're going to wrap up, and thank you for listening to our podcast, and don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, you can find us on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and our website, itsnotall.com. And you can see every place where you can listen and find us on YouTube. And we'll see you next time.
Yep, see you next time. If you have any question, email us. We'll
try and answer them on the podcast. info.itsnotall@gmail.com is the email address that we use for this. So please reach out or post any comments in anywhere, and we'll get to them.
Yeah, and stay safe.
Stay safe. Wash your hands.
Bye.